if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with particular interest in any specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. For remote participation from a computer, please use the link below. I will now read it off to you. We're getting an echo. Please use the link below. I'll read it off to you. https://us02web.zoom.us/j/89145894468. Or join the Zoom meeting from a telephone. You may dial 888-475-4499 and enter the same web ID, 891-4589-4468, #. If you have not registered for Zoom, you will be asked your name and an email address. Note, no participant ID is needed. Just press the # when asked. Telephone users may dial *9 to request to speak after joining the meeting. Computer and app users may use the raised hand feature to request to speak. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting will be recorded and can be found at the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel, http://www.youtube.com/user/Lunenburg-access/videos within 24 hours of the meeting. The agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. I will now call the meeting to order. We will do a roll call of
John
names.
Rabbit.
Brian LaFond.
Sarah Kammer.
Rena Sweezy.
Thank you all. Wow. I'm going to open up with some of the, I've called it in the past old business. I think in the future I'm going to call it current business because it's not old. We have minutes from,
Mr. Chairman, are we doing the speak first?
not yet.
Not yet? Oh, okay. I thought
Oh,
we
I'm sorry. I skipped right by.
He
my
was
first
getting
failure of the day.
Eggs and rotten tomatoes out, so I think that was really a good indicator.
I'll open the meeting to comments, first from the board. Is there any board comment?
Mr. Chairman, I could say it now or I'll say it later, with regard to the rate classification and, for that matter, some tax reform in regard to workout and those employees working for us. If you would want, I could go ahead.
Keep them fairly
I'll
brief.
try to keep it down 3 minutes. Okay. So anyway, new law says you can go from $15,000 to $2,000 a year, right, in terms of work off. And seniors, excuse me, senior workout. Yep. I
read
got to
it.
make sure I get that. Thank you. Hopefully it doesn't count towards my 10 seconds. So anyway, the question becomes, why wouldn't we, where we need so much help, not try and figure out how we can get on this work-off program? And I know we used to have a person loading databases for us. Would it make sense, Rena, to identify where you need help? And let's see if we can't try and put something together.
So let's hold
that
that
debate?
discussion.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing it up, and we can actually address that during the
Meeting.
update.
Okay. And the other one was the rate classification presentation. All I know is I sent you folks the latest round of what makes a good presentation. And I do recall that the last time we spoke, Nate was going to be potentially employed in that. And who owns this project? That's all I'm asking.
Who owns the project?
Who owns making sure that working with Nate and that we're reflected and it meets?
Well,
We do.
I guess we own it, and we have delegated that to Rena to lead up the project and working with those agents that we've hired to do some of the work, including Mike and
Okay.
Nathan and Nate.
I'm sorry, is this for the classification hearing? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. We only make a recommendation to the board, whether the Board of Assessors takes a vote, makes a recommendation whether to go with a single rate or a split rate. And then it's the Board of Selectmen that vote
Yeah,
on which one.
just the rate itself, but, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, go ahead.
Through you. I looked at Melrose's, and they have a pretty extensive classification presentation. And I know our, Tom Alonso, our selectman, has indicated that he wanted to see the full information by sector and how did it affect the whole community. And so
Nate
it
will
was
put
more in
all-
line with what Melrose was delivering.
Nate will put all that together. He
Oh.
does it for all his towns.
Right, so can we work with Nate while he develops that? I just don't want to be surprised at the last moment, here it is, and not have all that information, gone over and complete, and any kind of questions that we might have need to be kind of reflected in that presentation, so we don't have to ask him again.
So,
I'm sure when Nate has it complete, he will give it to the board to read over.
well, he was
before-
suggesting that maybe we should work with Nate more upfront.
In the development.
During the development.
Nate, I would let Nate do it. He does it for all the communities. He worked for the DOR. He knows exactly what goes into it.
With all due respect,
Is this
Mr.
something
Chairman,
maybe that we should have as an agenda item?
We will, that's where I was going to go.
you're going to go put it off to,
Now, if you want,
yeah.
if we need to talk to this at further length, then I think we need it as an
I
agenda item.
totally agree, because I've run out of my 3 minutes, and I don't want to get hit with that mallet. Thank you.
It's a gavel. Any other public comment from the board? None from me.
None for me.
Okay, thank you. Public comment from the public. If there's something you'd like to, as always, identify yourself and address and stuff.
Carl Luck, 50 Sunset Lane. The board is well aware, but for those, lakefront property owners particularly, who may have missed it, the current vision cards that are online for the lakefront properties, they have an additional 4% added to the abated value for the property, for average properties, and an 8% added for good properties. And the reason is not yet known, but I think there's an agenda item tonight that may address that. I hope so. If not, I hope there's one in the future. But in the meantime, the board has assured me on several occasions that this 2024 property card online pretty much should be ignored, and that it's going to be replaced by the time this 5-year reassessment process is done. So, okay. If it's true, though, because what's happening now is going to start fresh or new. It's going to take a fresh look at the town. If that's true, though, there's several concerns and questions that I think need to be thought about and addressed at some point. First, does this mean that the 2023 and 2024 property card information will not be used by the current contractor? They'll just have blindfolds on and they won't look at any of the current data. If that's true, and clearly I don't expect the answers to these things, but tonight, anyway. If that's not true, what would be used from the current database? For example, land curves, are they going to recreate land curves? Indices, the good and the average, are they going to recreate all that or create a new system? So what will they use and what won't they use? And if we know, for instance, that the 2023 vision cards still reflect the 135% across the board land increase, not the abated values. So how, or even will, these abatements be communicated to the contractor? Or is that fresh and new too? So whatever abatements were granted, that's also in the past, and the new contractors won't, even consider that or use it or in any way. Further, if that's true, or even gets close to be true, if it's a fresh look, when will the inspections be scheduled? Because as far as I know, there are no inspections for properties scheduled at this point. And I thought they were supposed to be done in January. I don't know how they do anything but use the current property card if they don't do an inspection and end up with anything that's better and results in fewer abatement requests. And then the last thing, which is probably the simplest of all, is the whole town starting anew? Or is it just the lakefront properties that are starting anew and with a clean slate? Those are really very, very important. But finally, based on our 2023 debacle, when and how will the public be made aware of these answers, of how the new assessment is being determined prior to getting a tax bill that tells you the answer, and now we start the abatement process? So it's an awful lot for you poor guys, and I don't know how to handle all this stuff, but if we're not careful, we're going to go backwards instead of forwards. And there's been a lot of work put in to get to where we are. It's a pretty good place. It's not perfect, nothing's perfect. But starting truly fresh is a bit of a scary thought, and needs a lot of work. So, thank you.
So if I can ask, do you have copies of those questions?
I do. I was going to email them to you, and then I started making so much, but I'd be happy to send them to you when I get home.
That would really be fabulous, thank you. I think some of those questions we can address pretty quickly, and others may take more time. Yeah,
Yeah, if ever.
so Rena, you had something?
Well, could I answer one of those
Please,
questions right now?
feel free.
Vision has somebody out right now reviewing all the properties that have sold. And it's basically an exterior view. The gentleman stopped in my office a couple of weeks ago. He had 137 cards, and he was going to start, he said he was going to be out at least 2 days a week, so all his information is with the Lunenburg Police, if anybody sees his car out there. But he's starting to do review all the, I believe it's the properties that have sold, to make sure the data, as far as the style of the house and the exterior data is correct.
Right.
He's out there doing that right now.
Good. Yeah, that's great, and I'm assuming, and I think it's a good assumption, that Vision is going to do a good job of identifying the qualified sales, which is, I presume, is what you're talking about. And that's a whole different subject, though. I'm talking about if you're going to take a fresh look at lakefront properties, somebody's got to come look. And was
Well-
when we did it with MFS, they had to schedule it because people need to be there and all those things. So I'm
And
happy
that
to
was-
hear that they're
and-
on
and
top
that
of the
was for-
qualified sales.
When MFS did it, they wanted to do interior inspections.
Mm-hmm.
I believe on the schedule, it's sometime in the first couple of weeks of January. They're going to have a full crew out there doing the whole town, doing drive-bys, checking the property record cards, checking the streets. Is this a busy street? Is this, is this, they're going to go all over the town.
But
And
but I don't know how they're going to do a bottoms-up if they don't inspect the property. So they're going to, if they use the property card, that's where I get
Well,
concerned.
they
Because I'm
are-
being told, don't worry about the property
But-
card.
But the property cards, I'm sorry.
The data on the
I'll let you.
buildings is correct on the property cards. We have good data on the buildings.
I agree.
And that's what they are going to be taking out.
Yeah.
Then they're going to look, is this a busy street? Is this a highway? Is this a dead end? And they're going through the entire town. They're going to have a crew out.
Right, I understand.
Right.
And I think that's starting January 15th.
I understand.
Right.
But the land has been the issue.
That will be done by, let me get rid of this, whatever this is here.
Well,
I take way more than my 3 minutes.
yeah,
It's the driver update right now.
Okay.
okay. We can try, is the Zoom meeting affected? I hope not.
Sorry.
Is
I
it?
can look at it.
I think we just lost it.
We may have
Yes.
Sorry.
technical problem. We're only going to take a minute if there's a technical problem because we're going to move forward. Appreciate the questions. I think some of them are very easy, as I said, to answer. Others will take a little longer. And
Recording stopped.
Sorry. Sorry, are we recording the Zoom meeting?
I think so.
Okay, because the recording is paused right now. I will put it on.
Recording in progress.
There we go.
We're-
Sorry, everybody.
We're back up.
Sorry about that.
So yes, get those questions over to us. We'll go through them. Some of them, I think, are, as I said, very easy to respond to. Some of them are more difficult. Some of them may take time to figure out exactly how to answer it. And so thank you very much. Appreciate your,
Thank you for your time.
I appreciate your attention to detail, too. Thank you.
You're in a small minority, I think.
Well, that may be true. I don't know. Thank you. Any other public comment from anybody else in the public? No. Thank you. We're going to go to, as I said, what we called old business. We're going to start calling current business. We have a set of minutes from April 4th, 2023 that were never filed. They were recreated based upon the minutes from it was a joint meeting with the Board of Select, or the Select Board. And so these were recreated from that. And we have to, if anybody has anything they want to change on it, please let me know.
You're all set.
If not, then I'll hear a motion on April 4th.
A motion to accept the minutes.
So moved?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We have minutes from October 11th that have been modified several times. October 11th was the one where we had a gap in the recording, so we had to use Zoom, and it was not terribly clear, but I was able to go through and pick out, I think, the highlights. Does anybody have anything that they would like to change on the October 11th minutes?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
There's a spot that says that I'm opposed to senior tax exclusions, and that's incorrect. It should read that Ms. Kammer states that while she is not opposed to increasing the amount of exclusion value for seniors, it's not practical this year, as it would require raising the limits through town meeting. So I suggested working within the current values.
So where is that? What section is it in?
I'll annotate it here. There it is. It should say something along those lines.
You had made this adjustment before. I thought I made that change.
Yeah, I didn't see it in that.
It didn't catch.
It didn't
Didn't
catch.
take. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so I just want to make sure it's clear
So-
that I'm not opposed to that.
I will incorporate that into these minutes if,
I would second it like it is with those
with
comments.
these comments. Okay.
Yeah, let's get it
We'll
off the
make that
board.
change.
Make sense? Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll have these over to the town clerk tomorrow
Thank you.
with the changes. We have minutes from on November 20th. These had arrived just a tad too late for us to have reviewed for the last meeting.
Right.
So we now have them in our hands. I made some, what I think were corrections, and there may be other things that need to be done. Has everyone had a chance to review them, and is there anything you want changed? On the November 20th.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
If, with regard to, there's only one in the last page, this is board comments. John Rabbit suggested additional copies, policies, manual, organization charts, and stuff. I believe I was asking for a master project plan in terms of what we're going to be doing
Project plan for,
for all the events and when we're going to do things and what was going to happen next and
Yeah.
just a
so
project plan.
suggests,
A timeline for when these items can be addressed. Right here.
have you read it
right.
up?
It's just, that's what it says, but I just, usually that means a project plan.
Okay. So if,
Just add
Is this the
project
word?
plan in parentheses, that's all Brian can be.
oh, okay, we can do that, and
Yeah.
project,
Yeah,
you want to call it master project plan or just project plan?
whatever you want. I think a master project plan would be good if we could get visibility into the whole thing, you know? in terms of what DOR gives us and what we put on our plate and stuff. So that would be a master plan, incorporates a couple of others.
Okay. I'll add that. And any other amendments to the minutes of November 20th?
I would move that we accept the amended minutes with the insertion of master plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we did indeed get the December 4th minutes in time to distribute. Was there any, and I made a few modifications before I sent it to you. So hopefully it's better than it was. Does anyone have any suggested changes to the
This-
December 4th
This-
minutes?
That one?
The executive
Not yet,
session?
not there.
Oh, not there,
No,
not
the
yet.
general minutes.
General minutes.
I don't have any.
Mr. Chairman, all I have is that perhaps these are follow-up questions, like insertion into the property tax bills. We had talked about,
Section even.
I'm sorry, page 2, status of request for improved collaboration.
Yep.
Insertion of the property tax bills. We asked for some graphics and things. We never saw a final copy of what was,
We got another copy that had a modification to it, but didn't wind up being a graphic.
okay,
If we can
is that?
design a graphic. Or-
Don't hold it up, it's
Should do.
just that, and has that been released?
I forwarded a copy that the.
Yeah, you gave it to us.
Town manager had sent to me, yeah.
Yeah, has it been released?
Oh, God, no.
Okay, no, fine, I'm
Oh,
happy.
I don't think it's been released yet.
Okay.
I'll push back on the graphics as well again, if you'd like.
It was done, it seemed like it was broken out enough that you could make heads or tails. Before, it was just too much running.
Well, that's true. It is actually more readable today,
Yes,
so.
it is, so that's improvement, we'll take it. Potential for citizen committee, the board has not had a chance to discuss this, and it was tabled for next meeting. Is that on this?
Which
Not
one?
I'm sorry, potential for ad hoc citizens committee,
The Ad hoc Citizens Committee's on this agenda.
is it? Okay, I apologize, I couldn't print mine because somebody
Somebody broke your printer?
You broke my printer. Okay, and
It's a,
1.5 years.
it's the last item before new business. It says potential for ad hoc citizen committees to aid board members.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And then,
So you don't need a change to
no
this yet.
changes at
Okay,
all.
Go ahead.
No changes at all. CIA card, we freeze property card records as of January 1 each year. I found an example where the property had been sold, and it was 1.5 years. And Rena, I brought that up with you and said, oh, that's kind of typical of what happens. And
I'm
right,
sorry.
I had that one property on Arbor Street that was sold for $100,000 more than it was valued, and it didn't show up in the property cards that following year. It took about 1.5 years to get onto that.
Yeah, we typically run about 18 months behind the actual sales.
Yeah, so we're
That-
potentially losing revenue.
It's the way it is through the state, because we have to use the sales for the previous year,
Right.
and we have to go through
Yeah,
from
and this was
January 1st
going,
to December. So like for '24, we're actually using all the properties that sold in '22.
right, so if it's sold in September, it
September,
should have been part of the new January, shouldn't it?
September what?
September
year?
of '22,
Yeah,
they're looking at those now. Any '22 sales are
But-
being reviewed now.
Right. Because
You don't have
23 is not over, we're still looking at 22 for 24.
okay.
So that would not be
So-
reflected until we do
It-
the reval this time.
Then would it be our policy, if everything's reflective as of January 1, and if there's a new value established in September, wouldn't
It's-
that
it's the
hit
way-
January 1?
No, it's
No.
the way the state says we have
Oh.
to do it.
I know you went through all the training sessions. There's no way for us to take the data from 23 and put in 24. The
Oh, I
data from
appreciate
22
that.
will go to 24. So this is data that's in 22, will not be reflected in this process until
Yes.
we basically
Okay, I will
Nail
go back
24
and
to the-
check. Okay, I'll go back and check. Thank you.
Yep.
I will.
But, so there's nothing there as far as changes?
No, not right
Okay,
now.
good, thank you. Anything else you want potentially changed in the minutes?
No.
Cool. We have a motion to accept the minutes of December 4th.
Motion to accept the minutes of December 4th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Here we go. That means-
We are current.
Yeah, wow, that's scary.
Amazing.
Actually,
Oh, we don't have-
full disclosure, there was a meeting posted for June 7th. I can find no record of it occurring or not occurring. So I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I made a list of all of the meetings.
Yeah, we're
and
almost caught up with
Same
except for
thing
that.
with June 7th. I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, there's two of them, aren't there? Two
Nope.
of them reflected on that?
No, well, we
Of the
had,
same-
that
on
was
the
one on
same
the
days.
6th, there was one on the 8th, we got both of those.
Yeah.
The June 7th one, there is no video, there's no, as far as I could tell, no Zoom, there were no handwritten notes. There's nothing that says there was a call to order of any kind. We don't know if there was actually a meeting held on June 7th.
There probably was not a meeting.
Well, it was that time when we were doing a lot of executive sessions and we were doing bulk abatements.
Yeah.
So it's possible that the meeting occurred right to executive session, but I don't know that.
No,
So-
it's more so, they were trying to do 3 a week,
Right.
and they were posting meetings, but a lot of times they could only do 2 a week.
So
So
I
it's
so
probably-
declare it.
It's done, I agree. Do we need a vote for that?
Now she's taking it away.
Do we need a vote for that?
Can't be in
Loud.
charge. No, well, I don't think we need, because we just don't, yeah. Okay. Review and approve invoices, expense vouchers, payroll, billing errors, et cetera, et cetera. We have a lot. I believe she responded in the affirmative.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's for later, okay. We can start with, on the back of the, this is commitment number 6 of 23 for motor vehicles, and there were 135 vehicles, abatements issued. So if you sign the last page of that motor vehicle commitment.
And can I impose on you to date it when you get it back?
Yes.
Thank you. Or not.
Sarah's doing it.
Thank you,
fine.
Sarah.
Thank you. Goes back to as I explained to you guys earlier, there was a whole folder of invoices that have come in. And because Sheila has been out for so long, I think they've just been sitting there. So if you guys sign them, then I will go over them with Heather to see. And then
These are pretty standard, though. These are all
Yeah.
things that we'd expect to have seen, so. There was nothing out of the ordinary, I assume?
Do you want us to sign each of these pages
yeah, they're all different.
on the front?
You can just sign them on the front. Yes, I'm sorry.
There was nothing out of the ordinary here.
No, it's all the contractual services.
We'll just keep passing them down, and we're just, oh. On the bottom corner. Sure are paying a lot.
I don't know if they all came in together, or because of the timing, it's the end of the year. I'm
Oh.
not sure.
That's a distinct.
That's why I want to
possibility.
go over each and every one of them with Heather, but I just want to make sure they're signed.
Oh, right here.
And there's several for
CAI.
CAI, but it's for different,
Had they not been billing us?
no, it's just for, it's, I don't know, I'll have to check with Heather, but I
I
believe
just-
they have. But
Okay.
it's for different services, remember?
Yep, oh, I know, there's a
When Tim
whole,
explained each
Oh.
one?
GIS support is here again.
there's a whole bevy of, yes.
Yes, he was explaining the different.
More, you say?
No
This
job
is-
is done till the paperwork's done, right?
Or payables.
And somebody's
This is
been paid.
actually a
Yeah.
commitment for the third quarter estimated bills.
Do we ever get an
Did you
estimate
sign-
as to how much, a summary at the end of the year, how much we paid each one of these characters?
We could probably get a,
Any place
Yeah.
on her signature.
so,
Brian,
Miss-
this is the commitment for the third quarter estimated bills.
oh,
And Marlene requested that it's signed both on her cover sheet, and then I did up the actual commitment for it.
so there's very little detail here,
Yeah.
but it's
It's-
just the total.
It's
that-
just the total, that's
Yeah,
all
that's
that's on
on-
the real estate
Submitted
commitments.
online.
And
Right.
it's essentially the summer, it's the same as the past 2 quarters, is that what this is?
Well, no, this, well, go ahead.
What Marlene did, because this is the tax collector's purview, not ours, she, the third quarter, she had to go in and pull out, she had to take out the first and second quarters, and the amount that left over was the amount, the 7 million, to be collected for the third quarter.
Help, say that again. I'm just, so
She
I was,
does she has the
Right.
file.
right,
In the file, when you bring the file over, it has all 3 quarters in
Yes.
it. So then she had to go through and just pull out the third quarter, because the first quarter and the second quarter have already been paid.
right, right.
So this is for the third quarter estimated
And those
bill.
essentially stayed flat, right?
That was her department. She gave me the commitment. She had,
So we're jacking the rates up?
no, we're
No.
not
Well,
jacking
no,
the
not the
rates up,
overall rate,
no.
the valuation, but the amount
This
we're
is-
going to be
this
charging
is
people is
the-
going to go up the third quarter?
Whatever the first 3 quarters was, this is a third of it.
Okay.
Is that easier?
Because this year,
Yeah.
we're not doing actuals for Q3, right?
The
We're
actuals-
just carrying over the prior two.
Right, so it'll be the
But we
estimate.
can't bill people for the prior 2, so the third quarter has to be pulled out of the first 2 that's been collected. But the file comes over with all the quarters on it.
Right.
Oh,
And then
So-
Marlene has to go through and pull out all the bills and adjust them for the, so it's just 1 quarter, because they've paid the first 2 quarters. If you have any issues with that, you better take them up with the tax.
Okay.
she
Well, it's
spends a
just-
lot of time with the tax.
It's just that
collector
we're
lately.
responsible for establishing the rates, right? And
Well, rates
But the
were
rate has
established.
not
We didn't
changed.
the
we didn't
rates.
change the rates. It's how
No,
they collect
this is the
them.
third quarter.
It's
Yeah,
merely the commitment for the third quarter, for the estimated bills that we're sending out.
right.
That you signed on
But
the
it's
web.
estimated,
Right?
We signed online for the.
Yep,
yeah,
We signed this number online,
online.
okay.
yeah, through Gateway.
Oh, that's what that was, okay.
Yeah.
And there was 400,000 of new growth, I think there was, whatever. That was actually the only thing we were really looking at.
Okay, so the estimated bills, what is that percentage increase from the prior quarters? Do we know?
Other than would new growth be in there? Yeah, new growth would be in there,
New growth will be in the fourth quarter.
so it won't be in there at all. So this should be the same number as we had in Q1 and Q2?
Right.
Probably,
And I'm sure it is, because it's a third of,
estimated.
right.
Yep.
So that's what we're signing in on, based on the assumption that it is the same as the past 2 quarters. That's what,
Yeah, because we couldn't change it.
right, because we don't know.
Without the
We don't
data.
know.
We
the
don't know
final-
yet.
we
That's
don't know yet.
correct.
Why
So
it's
it's,
estimated.
that's staying the same. Okay,
Yes.
Right,
okay.
and then that one, which is the same
Same
thing.
thing
just
as-
different.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's the fourth quarter that's going to change.
It's going to be
Fourth quarter's
the
gonna
Fourth
big
quarter
adjustment.
will be the actual bill, and that's when it will be
Thank you.
adjusted.
Mhm.
Could I have all those other, is this everything?
I think we put it all
I
together.
don't have any, I don't think.
Looks like it.
Okay, yes, it does, okay. Thank you.
Any other invoices, payroll, or billing, or,
I think I managed to give them all to you.
no payroll?
No, because you had signed a
Ahead.
couple ahead.
Okay, fabulous. Wow,
Oh, we don't have
go ahead.
And I'm just gonna, there's just one more thing, and I'm sorry it's not on the agenda, but you and I talked about this. This is an affidavit from the gentleman that's purchasing 801 Lancaster. And he wants the board to know that he's gonna keep it in chapter land. So he wanted to know if you would just sign this, acknowledging that he plans to keep it in chapter land. And I said, it's already in chapter land. Now, that chapter land application runs till the end of December. And next year, the new owner will have to take out a new application.
Yep.
And he will have to apply to the board. A new lien will have to be, the old lien will be removed and a new lien will put on. But the attorney said, well, could you just ask the board to sign?
Does
That
the
they
whole board need to
acknowledge-
sign, or can't I just sign
You
it
can
as the
just
chair?
sign it.
Because there's really no,
There's no, it's
Just knowing
just,
that that happened.
right.
he just wants the board to know that he plans on keeping it in chapter. I know he didn't sign it.
I'm going to sign it below him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll send it back to the attorney. He called the other day,
So he,
and I explained the chapter land process to him.
I'm going to print in my name and chair.
Oh, no.
So there's no confusion. Who was that guy?
when do the abatement requests due?
Sorry.
When do excuse me, Mr. Chairman, when do the abatement requests due? Every year, right? Start of the year?
No.
No?
The bills go out for January 1st, and the abatement requests have to be back by February
February
1st.
February 1st. So
In this case, we haven't sent out the bills yet. We're going to be selling an estimated bill.
Okay, so that's why we're doing that,
So,
okay.
the reason I'm taking a while to answer the question is so that everybody out there understands it. We'll be sending out the bills for March 31st, or April 1st, but March 31st, they have to be postmarked, and May 1
It
should be
gives a longer abatement period till May 1st.
Sure, okay, that makes
It's
sense.
not a longer abatement period.
Well,
It's just a different abatement period, because it's 1 month. Wait,
that's
people-
right, Aprilton.
I just want to be clear on the words. It's not longer, it's later.
That's true, because it's not January. I'm thinking of last year.
I got it.
The bills went out late in January.
Get it? Cool. There's not been, right.
Be a busy May.
It's, in all likelihood, yep.
Sorry, that was speculation.
That's, I believe we're all done. Are we all done with signing things?
Yes, we are.
Oh, good. Putting my pen down. The
Do you want-
status report from the interim principal assessor?
Okay. As everybody knows, Sheila is out on a medical. I talked to her last week. She's going to be out an additional 2 more weeks. so she probably won't be back until after the first of the year. She's having some issues now. The doctor believes it's her neck, and it's going up her arm and into her neck, so she's got to go to physical therapy, and he wants her to stay out of work. So I've been a one-person office.
While it's
3 weeks.
interesting what her medical situation is, we probably shouldn't really talk too much about her medical situation. So, but it is a medical leave, and
It's-
right now, the
it's all
projection is that it
approved
won't
by-
be till at least the first of the year, and that we are still working with a one-man show, one-person show.
I'm
And
yet.
actually, this might be a good time to talk about the senior, request for senior,
Well,
what is
I
it, work
had
off?
requested a senior to help, but the senior work-off program has ended for the year. It starts up again on January 1st.
Right.
But I also spoke to Julie, the HR director, and she said if Sheila is still going to be out come January, she will try to get me some help. She'll get me a temper.
temporary help in the office.
Right.
So they've
so
exhausted the
this-
1,500? I'm sorry, Brian.
Yes.
Mr.
Everybody who was eligible for the senior work-off and has applied for the senior work-off has
Has
worked
worked
off.
their
the
hours, and they're
1,500.
done for this year.
Right.
They
You can ask
start
them to
up
work for
again
free if you
January
want.
1st.
I think we're asking our assessor,
You mentioned that last.
our lead assessor for that.
Yeah. that's fine. So that was why I wanted to hold off on the discussion about
Okay,
the
thank you. I
senior
didn't-
work-off.
Didn't know. Okay.
And Brian and I both attended the kickoff meeting for the revaluation with Mike Torello, our DOR rep, Becky Busha, the town manager, Heather Lemire, and Brian and myself. And Mike Torello kind of explained to us what we're going to be looking at, what he's starting with, and what Vision is going to be doing. And he just went through the process. And he said he'll have people out probably around the 15th of January. He's going to bring a full crew in to go out and do all the drive-bys. And he just went through the process with us of the reval, and what he's going to be looking at, the sales. He's already reviewing the sales to see what adjustments have to be made. So it was a good meeting because Becky, our DOR rep, she actually she went online and for us, she did the new work plan, because the work plan was from last year when
Sure.
it was a whole different work plan. So she went in and made all the adjustments, and she had actually sent us, she sent me quite a bit of information on all the reports that have to be filled out, and but she works very closely with Vision.
Mhm.
So they will just let me know what they need from me. Mike will let me know, and Becky will let me know. And it was a good kickoff meeting, and it was just kind of a kickoff meeting. No, they didn't determine anything.
Right.
So my feedback from the whole meeting, from some of the meeting, was that Becky is a font of information. She has all kinds of data. She has access to information that we would not have been able to get, and she's been providing that. So
Yes.
I thought that was fabulous. She did fill out the work plan for us, so we have a work plan. In fact, we should probably share the work plan,
Yeah.
did we?
You can
was
go
gonna ask
right
that.
on, you can go right
I
on
think
Gateway and look at it.
You can get it yourself.
We gotta go to
can get
Gateway
it.
to get
So
it?
this is self-help.
Okay.
So we'll have a pretty good idea what the work plan is, and
And in the work plan, it sets out the timelines and who is doing the work.
right, so
Like
there'll be
on the
something.
work plan, it's
I'll go
Vision,
check it out.
RC is doing our personal property, our mapping company, it just, lists all the vendors that we work with.
And what tab in Gateway?
Oh, my gosh. We'll let you know what tab. I don't know what tab it's in. We'd have to go
Yeah.
look it up.
I'll look at it and I'll send you a screenshot.
Okay, thanks, Sarah.
You sent, all of us.
Yeah.
You meant all of us, right? Thank you.
Let's keep him in the dark. He doesn't need to see.
In the
I
one
don't.
thing, Mike did stress, was the importance of getting everything on the website. When he has preliminary valuations, we're going to put them on the website. Because there's a period in between preliminary certification and final certification. And if we have to make any changes, that is the period to make them. And by changes, I mean if somebody said, you have me down for a two-story house and I only have a one-story house. Those are, data changes. So Mike was adamant about, he wants as much public
Right.
It's possible.
information put out as possible.
Yep.
And he said the website is definitely the way to do that. Put out the preliminary values out there, everybody. He said they should be up at least, I think he said 5 days out there. That's how long you're required to, but if you kept them up for a couple
We want
of
to
There-
go
Are you
for,
planning to put that out as a spreadsheet?
It will probably be, I'm trying to remember the way we used to, it used to be address and, not names.
But I think it's a spreadsheet, right?
It's basically an
So
Excel.
you should be able to pull off.
Yes.
will it reflect the property card content?
No,
Just the value,
just the value.
yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I'm
No,
asking
that's fine.
details. Is he going to have any of the previous year information with that?
On the property, no, no,
So just-
no, this
just what
is
the current valuation is.
what the new values will be.
I know why you're asking.
Yep.
So for comparison purposes, yeah,
Yeah.
we won't have been there,
Report all
because comparing the preliminary to
Yeah,
last year,
we'll
when
still
it's
have to
not
add it up.
final, we'll still have to do it, right.
But, we can probably, I think we can actually make a database of the previous years and then import that Excel sheet into a database and then do a query and get it back out.
And Mike did tell us that when he completes all the sales analysis, he will then send it to the board for a review.
And that'll include, the card will incorporate all the components of the property card? His analysis
when-
will
when
include
You mean the data, not,
the data. Well,
are you asking about the data, or?
I'm asking about the data that drives the property card.
Yeah, that,
Yeah,
when
because,
he'll first have you review all the sales.
right,
What he has come up with the ratios, the
ASR? ASR?
ASRs, thank you. I was looking to Kyle because I lost it.
Carl knows what it is. Phyllis knows what it is.
And,
Not that they're in the audience.
I know he's doing that, and based on that, is he going to, because he's got people out, and you said he has a team?
yeah.
How big is that team?
I don't know.
I don't either. I was just wondering how many people can be expected to be around, but it
Well,
doesn't really
remember,
matter.
we're a little bit off schedule from everyone else.
Yeah, right.
So we may be able to get a little more
Yeah,
focus.
he might bring a few more people on.
Yeah. And from that, he'll calculate a land curve.
Yes, and he said, one of the things he's gonna be working on is the land-to-building ratio.
Right.
right,
Set
right,
the
right.
land-to-building ratio, because, there's always a ratio, like 65-35. The building is always the higher, and then the land. So he said that's one thing he's gonna work at. He said he thinks a land ratio of 55% and a building ratio of 65% is the best scenario to try to achieve for the town of Lunenburg. That's not right.
So I
No, that's
yeah,
wrong.
I'm
That's
like,
wrong.
I'm
You're
missing
wrong.
something there. I was-
No, I believe you slipped a digit.
Okay.
55-35.
I was gonna
didn't
ask
correct
you.
me.
about that.
I
Like,
didn't
that
wanna-
doesn't work for me.
You didn't correct it.
So, okay.
So we'll have 120%.
And then he's
No.
gonna, and then he said he'll start reviewing the land curve.
Will he present how he got the land curve to us?
He'll, I'm not sure, but
Well, he's going to send it to us. My guess is we can ask him to come in and present that, please, because that would be something. In fact, Rena, you might want to just mention that to him. We'll
'Cause
want him to
I
come.
think we'll want that because it's just,
and And he did.
With everything people have been through, we
Yeah,
we will
he
want
did
some
start to say
explanation.
the full failure review will be started on 1/15.
Okay,
And Becky stressed the importance of entering the visit history on the notes, so when his people are out doing even the drive-bys, all that goes into the visit history.
and he's going to have a list of the site condition adjustments.
What he'll do is probably send his people out with our data manual,
Okay,
and they'll look to see what we consider a colonial, what we consider the different
Right.
styles.
It's more than
Mr.
probably,
Chairman?
he definitely said he was going to send them out
With
with
that,
our.
Yeah.
yeah.
If I might inject something here, I'm sorry, I haven't had really a chance to
Question, or is it?
question and such. I don't have any real faith in our property cards, only because of the example that when you and I first met, right? And when we first met, we filed an abatement. My barn was a two-story house.
Yeah.
And then for that matter, my small piece of property in the front was a
We can
buildable lot.
only make these
That-
corrections as we
Oh,
find
yeah,
them.
let me, if I continue. Okay, so anyway, if we're inviting these people to come and take a look, I expect that we're going to receive a considerable number of inquiries, and I expect that we're going to get some folks in of filing abatements. I came across another piece of data, credit card reports. In a similar vein, it's a lot less complicated. But when the feds did the analysis on the credit card report, they found that 14% of the cards were wrong, and of which 5% of that were in the wrong direction. So knowing the history of our cards, and knowing the fact that we've done we did 3 data transfers, and we did not do follow-ups and scrub downs, as it states that we should be doing in a conversion, I don't have a lot of faith. So I think we need to be prepared for that. I started, and Sarah, I sent it to you, I didn't know you were working on the property cards, but I was looking at an analysis to see if I could find a way of seeing whether that was fitting. So I sent you folks a couple of different revisions on that, and I'll expand it, but I'm going to do a sampling of size to see if that's going to fit with what our friends at Vision are providing, because I'm fearful that they are going to use that same data, and I'm fearful that it is going to end up in 2 points. One is everybody's going to want to know what was involved in it, and we aren't equipped to handle that, right? We can't answer those. And then there's going to be a big slew of abatement requests that we're going to have to go through, and I don't know if their data is really good, especially where they're only doing a drive-by on the property.
Well, the one thing that Becky did stress, because she worked in this community when she worked for RRG.
Yeah.
She's been our field advisor for quite a few years. The one thing that Becky has stressed to me is the building data she finds very good in this community. The land values had not been adjusted, but she had said several times, the building data is good.
Right. Well, my odd experience, as I shared, was that they were 2 for 2, and they were both wrong, and it was probably, as you indicated, an input data error. And I don't know of us, when we've had the person inputting that data down there, there was no system to go in and check to see the validity of what they were putting in there. There was, the fellow that was working for us.
Well, if you want to take all 5,300 parcels and go out and look at them.
No,
yourself,
I'm just saying, be prepared. And when we go ahead and advertise, ask the citizens to go out and start scrubbing down their own cards and taking a look at it, we're going to get a deluge. So maybe we need 10 people in the office, but I don't know. All I know is if we go and push this out there, which is the right thing to do, and ask our citizens to participate in scanning those cards, we're going to have a significant workload, and we've got to be prepared for a lot of changes in a short period of time.
There's a couple things I'd like to address in
Sure.
that comments. Our last meeting, December 4th, where we just went through the minutes too, I shared that I had gone through the cards and
Yeah.
done that very exercise that you're talking about. And we had a discussion at that meeting about the accuracy of those cards and when they were updated. And we were talking about when they get updated, and it's
Right.
January 1st.
Right.
So we discussed whether we want to update those further throughout the year or not, and I think we said we update them January 1st,
Because everything in Mass General Law says, as the property stands on January 1st.
on January 1st. So
But
we know that those cards that are out there for the land values and for the assessed values are not accurate for
23?
for fiscal year '23.
Well, we
we
don't
know
know
that, right?
that the building values are not accurate. The problem was.
The land values, yeah,
And
thank you.
MFS did inspections, interior and exterior, on the buildings, and even Nate said we had good data on the buildings, so.
But I did express that it was an exercise in futility that I did over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because the way certain things were entered into a spreadsheet and then how it got into CAI was not exactly clear, and that's because certain things had not been updated into CAI for some time.
We actually have the ability to change the CAI data more often, especially when it comes into new owners. It's the vision cards that, unless, it's an abatement or something, data correction, it's the way the property stands on January 1st. That's Mass State law.
So what you'll find is there'll be differences
Right.
as the year goes on.
Yeah.
But anyways,
And
you
and
start
it's
the,
from January, like for this assessment, it's January 1st of the sales are from 2022.
correct.
Is it from January 1st of 2022?
Yes.
23, yes.
23,
I'm sorry.
For fiscal
for
24.
fiscal '24.
But yeah, for fiscal '24,
Yeah,
it'll be the sales from '22.
yes.
Right, right.
And the last time it was updated,
Right, but wasn't there a question,
the date of the
Sarah?
card
What's
when
it,
it's
letter of
accurate for 2022 will be in January 1st, 2024.
So it's 2 years behind,
Yeah,
It's,
so there's a lag.
on
It's
average,
very confusing.
because we delayed.
on average, it's 18 months behind, because it's as much as 24, but as little as 12.
That's right.
And so it is very confusing.
It is
Because-
very
Because
confusing.
we're so, as a society, we're used to things being updated in real time, and those are not.
Right.
Correct.
Wasn't there a question, though, and I don't know if we voted on it, and Sarah, I believe you were
It gave
kind
me
of
such a headache.
advocating for changes as they came, or quarterly changes
Well, I
as they
was
came.
See it.
inquiring about it because I didn't understand why they're not updated.
We can update the ownership, the CAI cards, we can update once a month, but the vision cards, it will, because they are the property record card that everything is based on, it's as of January 1st.
So if there's an abatement done, then that's not reflected as of the beginning of the year, because that abatement took place during the year.
Right. It will be reflected.
So that
in-
would be listed as current.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm concerned that the state has published, in terms of a quality of the data, the number of changes and what you have to do. If it's more than 10% off on all those categories, we're in for a whole new full reval, not just a 10-year or the 5-year, like the 5 years of drive-by shooting, right? This is going and visiting the properties, inspecting the land, and then
There-
it's a whole campaign.
That's all that's done
So
every 5 years. There
Well,
is no,
the reval is 5 years, but it's not every piece of property.
yes, it is.
I thought it was something,
You're looking over everything in town.
you're visiting every piece of property? I thought it was only like
Right.
half of the properties.
driving by, and
That's
we
the
do,
cyclical inspections over a
Over
10-year
10 years, you
period.
see them all, right?
You have to see them all.
That's correct. Yes.
And you have to have seen a certain percentage of the town when you do your
By the time we
reval.
reach the reval, and I thought that was roughly half.
It's usually, they usually
Yeah.
require, if you have 35,000 3,500 parcels, you do at least 1,700.
Right.
And right now, we're on track with the cyclical inspections that was done by the company that was out from 21, 22, and part of 23. And what Nate did, we're over 2,000 parcels already
Right.
that have been inspected, so we're well over what's required for the reval.
Okay, and then it gets into the question of the number of changes that occur as a result of this last round of visits by Bob Tolland, right?
By what?
Robert Tolland, our inspector on the street.
He's out,
Division?
I believe, looking at the sales.
Oh, just sales? Okay, he's not doing that. Okay.
So-
We'll get into some
so-
more as we get the other part.
I'm just trying to
So,
wrap that up, and I'm not sure how to wrap that up. We're in pretty good shape, very good shape for the cyclical.
for cyclical,
Right.
yes.
We understand where we are for the 5-year reval. We understand what need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Your concern was that we had may have had a bunch of errors. Well, we just looked at 440 properties.
2,000
well,
altogether.
No, but we
No.
just looked at 440 properties again.
Again.
So if they were already included before, or there may be some dupes in there, I don't know.
No, they weren't
None of
included.
them were dupes. Okay, cool. So I don't know if we answered your question at all.
No, I'm just saying that be ready, and I think that if you're just looking at the location, you're probably gonna be okay, maybe, but as soon as we put it out there, when we ask everybody to go out and look at their property cards, as the right answer, as suggested by Vision, we are going to receive a deluge of inquiries, and we're going to have to provide a deluge of responses, and then we're probably going to get a deluge of abatement requests. So be ready for it.
Well, the abatement requests wouldn't take place at that point.
Don't they have a
It would
chance?
take place later on, after they get their tax bill.
Right.
Because it's mailed March.
And that brings up the tax classification hearing. It's scheduled for March 12th. And then the tax rate will be set according to Becky on March 13th.
Sorry, March 12th.
So-
what is
The
the-
tax
So,
classification.
having said that, there are some reviews that need to take place before that. So, as I started to say,
Okay.
some of my feedback from the meeting was, we have a very tight schedule. In order to get tax bills out on March 31st, we have about a week and a half of slop, and that's not really a week and a half. If we were to just do the minimum amount required for review periods for the various reviewing entities.
Yes.
The only other things, I sent out all the form of list for second homes that was talked about at the meeting. There were only 38 second homes that are actually come under personal property. I sent the forms of list out. I've got some back. I've been getting some calls about them. How do I fill this out? So I'm handling that, only 38 of them. And Becky stopped by the office because just a couple of days after we met, she wanted to know about our new growth because it was being questioned in Boston because it had doubled. And I sent her a spreadsheet with all the new homes that I had put in the big commercial building.
Right.
And they were satisfied with all that. So, other than that, we've just been, I'm just going through the day-to-day business and hanging in there.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Is there any, excuse me, Mr. Chairman?
Brett, is there any
Is there
further
any
questions?
movement with regard to finding help in terms of the, a new lead assessor?
I
And
don't know. I'm not part of the
The-
loop on
the-
that.
The detail that I know is it's still in a negotiation.
Okay.
That's all I can tell you,
And-
that's all I know.
And I'm not part of that, so.
And, yeah,
And Nate did make a recommendation that there be 4 people in that department.
right now we
You
have
can get
one.
one person.
I know, but why should we stop? if we think we need 4, and Nate's made,
It's not a 4-person office. It's not busy enough for 4 people. It really isn't.
Right, I think,
There's 5.
or we come up with a
I think what-
hybrid in the outsource in terms of doing the post-sales inspections and things like that. And I just don't know what that,
I think what Nate was actually talking about, it was because it was so busy around the abatement process, you could have easily sucked up 4 people's time,
Yeah.
full-time,
okay, I'll.
easily. So,
But for
and
the
I
rest-
think, it-
For the rest of the year, if you had a part-time data collector,
Yes, that's
that
one of
would,
them.
two people in there, full-time and a part-time data collector.
Mhm.
right,
That would be
and
the
you could
4th.
outsource that.
Yeah.
Right.
We can do that, or do it, but when are we gonna do it?
so, well, no, so as we head into this budgeting season for next year, that's one of the things we should suggest to the town manager for our budget, is to have enough money in there so that we could afford to pay a data collector, part-time data collector, which I think would actually soften the resource difficulties that we've been having. Now, having said that, we have somebody off on medical leave too, so that makes it even worse. So,
And it's the holidays.
it's, well, yeah, I mean, that happens anyway, but, so,
I'm done.
anything else that you'd like to make sure we covered? Okay.
In my
Thank
report? No.
Good report, Maria, thank you.
I do have one more question
Sure.
on the Mike Trello stuff.
Sure.
Is he, I guess when he goes through things, is he going to make any recommendations on neighborhoods? If we're going to have new ones, or that'll be in his report?
He'll determine that by the sales.
Okay.
He might, I don't know. We only have 5 neighborhoods.
Okay.
And most of the town is pretty basic.
When I poked at neighborhoods, even the state said, well, you don't really want to go more than 8 neighborhoods, do you? I mean, why would you do more than 8 neighborhoods in a town this small?
Yeah, I'm not trying to get
And,
more.
well, no, I think that's true. The point was, maybe we need to fine tune what the neighborhoods are.
Yeah.
But I think we already have 5. Do we really need more than that? Maybe not. But I
Because you
think
get too many neighborhoods and you can't get enough qualifying sales for them.
you'd get, right, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right, so.
So I was just wondering, because I don't have a good handle on that part.
I know, he's doing a thorough review of everything. You know, he's got the sales, he's gonna look at the land curves, he's gonna, make recommendations on dollar per square foots and, in the different categories and stuff like that. It's quite, a revale is quite extensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the status of the community outreach, both the senior center work, whatever that was going to be, and the how to read your vision card work. So, to my left or my right?
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go
Oh,
ahead.
God, you don't want me to do it first.
So,
Okay, you want to do
regarding
seniors or
this-
website?
Senior,
See,
we have the website on as a separate item.
Okay. So, of course, I flipped it over. Senior housing support. Okay, progress has been slow, but certain. I've had a chance to go out and look at affordable housing with regard to seniors and seeing how that would apply to some, I know you're saying no.
No, it's not in our domain.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go a little bit further. And that's saying that we do have a public housing authority.
Yes, we do.
We do. And I was not aware of that. They're over on White, hold on a second, White. And then there's that, the Baker Brook Apartments. I think they call them where the movie theater used to be, the Tri-Town Theater.
There is affordable housing right off of White
Which
Street.
yeah, there is.
introduces the concept of How many do we really have that are low-income and low-income seniors? I don't know that.
That's really not a subject for
well,
us.
it-
I'm going to stop you there. This is really a subject that we have a whole committee that's supposed to be looking at that.
Yeah.
A whole committee that the town has assigned to look at that, that really has nothing to do with assessor's work.
Well, I tell
I
you-
understand that we are concerned about seniors and their ability to stay in the community,
Mm-hmm.
but that is not our work, so I'm going to stop that conversation.
Okay,
Unless you have
we
something that is-
have-
Unless you have something that is assessor-related,
Yes.
tell me.
Okay, I have been provided with by Rena, a listing of the,
State.
of all the state.
IGRs.
We are not identifying 41C in our bulletin board, because you're saying that there's not enough value. I can tell you that
No, we have quite a few
41C and a
41Cs.
halves.
No, we have quite a few 41
So we're not notifying those people who are the 41C and a half. So your position is that there aren't enough of them.
No,
to
I didn't
qualify?
say that. I said, we accept, out of the 41s, we choose which one we
Right.
want to accept. The highest one, for the benefit of the seniors, is 41C. This town has been doing 41Cs for years. There's several that get, I think it's $700 off on their taxes on the 41Cs.
Right.
I want to
There's-
say there's about 40 of them.
They can go 41C and a half. Exemptions may increase up to 20% of the average assessed valuation of a residential property. That's a pretty big number. And I
Not
just
sure
don't,
that's
I can't
just-
say I know exactly what that means, but all I can tell you is that they're saying go 20%. So why wouldn't we, on our publications, include a legitimate state option for 41C and a half? To 41C and a half, that's, I get that. So why wouldn't we
But
include
then
that?
we'd have to do away with the 41C if you were to choose. You
I-
can't have two of them.
You can't participate in both of them at the same time. But the town can have both, I believe.
Well, I don't know what that
41C
means.
and a 41C and a, okay, Brian.
But no,
Yeah, here we go. It doesn't say anywhere, any of this, that you can't have clauses 41, we provide exemptions for seniors who meet specific ownership residencies.
Mm-hmm.
And you can pick any one of them. You can't have more than one, but you can go ahead and pick the one that fits you
so you're
best.
saying that we should
You
move
would
to
like
41C and a half rather than 41C?
No, I'm not saying that, because each one of them have different,
You can't do both.
one isn't, you can't do two.
Right.
Yeah,
The individuals cannot do two.
No.
No, the town.
The town
chooses-
cannot-
The town chooses to do
At
one.
town meeting,
or not.
which one they're going to accept.
that's what,
And this town has chose 41C because it's the most beneficial
Oh, this is
to
a-
our seniors.
that's my understanding from what you just read.
Okay, the legislature enacted alternative exemptions, 41B, 41C, 41C and a half. These options within the exemptions that cities and towns may adopt. Doesn't say you can't have both.
Cities and
It's-
towns,
May adopt. We could come back, and it's a different scheme. So I tell you what, give me a chance, and I'll come back, and I will talk to our lawyers and figure out, am I right or am I wrong? But all I know is that's where it's taking me down. Now, the low-income,
you're going to talk to the town's lawyers?
I'm going to try and talk to somebody.
Okay.
I'll try and talk to somebody. And so I just,
I think you're misreading.
I might be
So,
totally misinterpreting it. But if that's the case, then we should be publicizing to the citizens those
We
things.
Well, of
can't
course, if-
publicize something that's
Right.
not been accepted by town
Correct.
meeting.
Yeah.
We have accepted 41C because it's the most beneficial in this community for the seniors.
So-
We can change that amount.
Right.
We can go to town meeting. You can
You
put
will
it
have
up
to,
to
no matter
a,
what.
you can
No,
go
we
up
don't
to
have to.
Yes, you do.
$1,000 on
Don't
that
have to.
one. Their exemption, you can, by a town meeting vote, you can go up to $1,000.
Right.
It's my
Up to
understanding.
20%.
It's my
No, that's-
understanding right now that town meeting at some point approved 41C.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's the one we have on record right now for this fiscal year.
Right.
And if we want to do something else, we would have to propose it at the next town meeting.
Correct.
The only
Right, they would
other-
have to be
which is
voted on,
after-
actually.
Which is
It's a
also
vote,
after
Yes.
this tax season, right?
And the
Yeah, it
only
wouldn't start
other,
till 2025.
out of those 40.
I just want to make sure I understand.
Yeah.
The only other thing out of the 41s a town can use as a 41A, which is the tax deferral. We have
Right.
nobody in this town on the tax deferral
Okay.
because
You still have-
people just aren't able to qualify for that.
Okay.
So, thank you.
I
You'll do
will-
the
I
research
will
on
go-
41 versus 41.
I will go
41C
do that
versus
research.
41C and a
And
half.
I'm investigating to see if some of these people that are in low-income supporting housing could qualify for that.
No, because they're in affordable housing. They can't qualify for those exemptions.
Those
You have to own and
own the property.
occupy the property.
You're right.
So if you're
You're
in
right. I
public
hadn't thought that
housing,
through.
you can't apply for those.
Right. So
Okay.
the only action item here is to just investigate whether we could do 2 or 1. We believe that you can only do 1 as a town, but
I
feel free
only-
to investigate.
I will investigate.
Thank you. So that was about the senior center update?
You want more?
So you guys are going to be going to the senior center sometime in early March still
Yes,
with a presentation?
right.
Thank you.
Because all the exemptions are, have to be back by April 1st.
Correct.
And if you do it in, say, the middle of March, they remember.
I
I've
get
got
it.
2 weeks to get this.
I'll
in.
remember.
And if we change anything, doesn't it, from what I understood, or what I had read, one of them requires a vote, a ballot vote, not just a town meeting
Oh,
vote.
maybe.
It could be.
Yeah,
It's been in place for so long. It's like in Groton, we had it forever.
right.
But we used to go to town meeting every year
You'd
with
have
the
to re-up.
41Cs to make it 1,000 instead of 500.
Right.
And you have to do that when you do
Annual.
it for one, you have to do it for all the exemptions.
Right.
The blind, the veterans.
Right.
And the reason you have to get the town meeting okay on that is because the burden is put on the rest of the taxpayers.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep, makes sense. So just to be clear, any suggestion that we include 41C and a half, is that what it's called,
Yeah,
would not affect this tax year or this tax bill.
but we would have to have it
would
ready.
be, it would be done at town meeting in May, so it
25,
wouldn't take
right.
effect till the following year. So I just want to be
2025.
really
Fiscal
clear
25.
that it's not like there's this relief that is available to everybody. It's coming up soon. It's not. It's going to be a ways away.
Right, and
So,
it's
and
2025.
I'm glad you're doing the investigation. Thank you.
And it's got to be, I believe it's got to be voted. And we have to, if that's the case, then we have to get it on the ballot for, and then that's why we're
Absolutely.
running out of time.
So that's, right.
We're running out of time.
How to read your vision
Yes,
card.
all right. So, I wanted to print this out and bring this because
For those of
realized
you
there's-
who don't see it, it's a copy of the town of
Concord.
Concord,
Concord.
the assessment process.
Yeah, I was looking around to try to understand what's on all those cards and also, what is going on. And I was looking at this before I became an assessor because I was trying to understand what was actually happening. I mean, I looked at my cards and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. So if you flip to page 3 in this document, it says side 1. And then if you take the last 2 pages out, it shows the cards. So this would be side 1.
Yep.
And this would be side 2. And I just think it's lovely. I'll talk about this first page later, but side 1 just goes through and it has the labeled card. So 1 is your current owner, 2 is the current assessment, and so on. It goes through it in
Previous years.
previous assessments. Area 4, building permit record and visit change history.
Right.
Mine shows my deck, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Area 5, landline valuation and building lots.
6 is your construction.
6 is construction, that's on side 2. But what I also like about this document in here is it, while it's going through, for example, under area 5 for building lots, and you guys can read this later too, I'm just giving a brief overview because I know you haven't been able to read it yet. And I'd like you to be able to read it too. But if you look at the building lots, it talks about how they came up with the land curve. And it's got a nice table about square feet, the lot price, and then the
And the
cost
dollar
per square foot.
yeah.
So everybody can clearly, understand what's going on. And of course, Concord has like multiple market areas instead of neighborhoods. They call them market areas. And
Yeah.
they have this
Neighborhoods within neighborhoods.
neighborhoods within neighborhoods. They have a site index
Yep.
that's essentially, if you have a nice view, or you have a road nearby, or a railroad, that's in there. And then it talks about excess land, which is also on the property card. When you go over a certain square footage, it's at a
Your
different
primary
rate.
site, your next, right.
Your primary site plus extra land beyond that primary site, which I really appreciate because it's very thorough and it explains
Yeah, I
how,
know, I've read that.
how that whole thing worked and what neighborhood you might be in and so on. And then side 2 goes into all of the stuff about your house. So the construction detail. And so this part I've been taking and adding what you had in the land.
In the data manual?
In the data collection manual. And then it has, the code and grade factor, which I can't remember if I don't think that's in the manual, but I think we'll see that perhaps.
It's in the tables, right?
With the tables. It shows the sketch, and then it shows all the building areas. That's area 8 on the side 2 here. And gives the codes for everything which you put in the building manual, which I'm adding on there. But there's some stuff that I can't do yet because, of course,
Well, the land curve's going to change.
the land curve is going to change and all that kind of stuff. But I'm putting it in with like XX for values and numbers and stuff like that so that we have it. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go back to this first page, page 1 and 2. Here. I must have taken yours.
No,
But it actually goes through like, here is the year of the data that we're using to calculate this particular fiscal year, which is great. Here's what the valuation criteria is. Here's what it means to be doing a reval. Here's what it means to be doing a 10-year cyclical. Here's what it means to, what we did for fiscal year. How come things go up and down, those FAQs that we're getting that we don't have anything to point to yet. What happens when my neighbor's house sells? How does this new valuation affect my tax bill? This is the kind of thing that I want us to have ready and up
Yeah.
on the web.
website.
This is like, you've seen, I do a lot of reading, the climate change report. That's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pages, which I have read. But there's an executive summary, and this is kind of what I needed.
Yep.
And this is,
Concord's got a very good website.
yeah, and when I go to our webpage and I'm trying to understand what's going on, like, this is what I would like to share once we get the information
Yeah.
from all of that. I would like to have something like this, and it's so well written, I don't think I can improve upon this one. It's a nice template, so I'm going to call them and ask them.
You know what? You don't even have to call them. Different towns grab
Yeah,
stuff from different websites and put it on their website because nobody's going to reinvent the wheel.
yeah, why?
Yeah.
So I have most of what I can put in done. I was sick last week, so I don't have a
so-
draft of the current, but
Well, thank you for wearing your mask then.
This is, yes, we appreciate that. So this says Town of Concord, this is or is not modified by you?
this is not modified by
Okay.
me. This is the template I'm going from.
Fabulous.
And
Just wanted to make
I've
sure.
skipped the first pages because we don't have any of that. And I'm starting on page 3 and building that out for us. But I really think like the summary that we have on page 1 and 2, like Town of Concord is done, should be, I would like that to be our goal, so people can easily read it
Understand.
and
yeah.
understand what.
It's readable, yes.
Yeah, and it's not that hard to understand the way they've written it,
Right.
so.
And the way you've laid this out, they've laid this out. This would
Yeah.
be something we put on the website quite readily, I think, with all the links and the pointers and all that stuff, so.
Yeah.
So,
And
So I'll send-
I'm pretty
oh.
sure that was done by Lane Partridge when he was down in Concord. He was there for quite a few years, and
Let me give the credit.
well, this
here.
hasn't been updated since September 2020, so we'll probably keep ours more up to date.
The byline is Concord Board of Assessors, Tom Matthews, Bill Herring, Sue Livingston, Baron Lambert, and Brendan Kameza, and whoever else.
So the Board of Assessors took
So-
credit for it?
Yeah,
Nice
they
of
did.
them.
They did.
I'm not a credit person.
But I'd love for you guys to go through and see if you like this, because, you know, the page 3 and on, I'm just using this as a template to explain what we have. There's parts that are gonna be incomplete until we get more data. But, you know, that's my opinion. I would like you guys to share yours after you read it.
So Sarah, you're going to put, in each section, are you going to itemize what does that mean? And
Well, that's
Well, that's what-
that's what this
what's on
section
those
there.
previous pages.
Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
area 2.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Areas 1, 2,
It's
3.
all in
Okay,
there.
I didn't
Yeah.
catch that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
1, 2. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
We could
Yeah.
put like watermarks on the pages so we'd know which pages they were and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
And help
I'm
them read
really
it.
looking forward to the website.
This is going to be good. It's coming. It's coming.
So-
We were
And now we have
talking about
something more, because we already have the data collection manual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This would give us something more that's meaty,
yeah.
so. Thank you for that work, I appreciate it very much. And I
Well,
will
they
review.
did that,
and We'll,
but-
well, you've done some work since then, right?
Yeah.
So,
And you were sick, too.
And the fella,
was sick.
I know that must have been done by Lane, because he
Yeah.
was probably there for, oh, God, I don't know how many years Lane was there.
I just looked at
He's
this.
been the president of our association like 3 times. He's the current president.
It's lovely work.
He's an appraiser, he's extremely knowledgeable, so I'm sure that was Lane's work.
Good. I just think it's an excellent example, and
great.
And I can see why this hasn't been updated, because Lane left. And,
Yeah.
somebody else took over, and Lane is down in the Cape now in Barnstable, so.
oh, good for him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And he's still the president.
Oh, he is? Well, we'll tell him this volunteer was like, that was good.
Yeah, I just saw him last Friday night, in fact.
Thank you for the update and the digression. Cool. Status of request for improved collaboration was, we mentioned, we sat in a couple of meetings with the town manager. I
Yes.
think the collaboration has been much better. I won't say it's necessarily perfect, but much better. I do want to follow up on the insert and see if this is final or
I
not.
think it is.
I think it's final too.
It's finalized, and it was, I know it was going back and
And-
forth between Heather and Marlene, because this is really Marlene's domain.
Right.
She's the tax collector.
Right, this is an insert for
So-
the tax collector
Right.
to include.
Right. And I think it's ready to go.
Well, we don't have to send the bills out till when?
Last week.
March 12th. No, March 31st.
No,
No, this is the
Third quarter.
this
The
is-
insert's going to be the third
This is
quarter, so
going
it's going to
out-
be going out in 2
I'm
weeks.
sorry.
A week.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty
Next week.
final, but,
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry about that.
They call it a brain scan? No, that's wrong. Mr. Rabbit, you want to give us a little bit of an update on the website?
Oh,
I know
God.
that you've done yeoman work so far.
Thank you, but we got a long way to go. Okay, I have been sitting down with Kara McCarthy, and Kara is the Lunenburg's web wizard. I've also had a chance to speak with DOR, Danette Vishke, with regard to the utilizing some of the training materials that were provided. She checked with the state lawyers. They're saying that's fine. Essentially, it's public property. The reason why most people can't get in to see it is it's the same application process in the gateway. You've got to be recognized but it is not proprietary. In fact, when I was able to go in outside, I just Googled in my chapter names, they showed up in public domain. She said, and the lawyer said that, yeah, that's fine. You can use that in your packages. Interesting enough, Nate developed it. He was one of the contributors, wasn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, he worked for the DOR.
Yeah. And so what I did it's evolved beyond that. I've sent you folks a couple different iterations. I think you got the last one last night. We went through and we looked at the old one we had. We looked at Melrose. Actually, we looked at the five other towns to see how theirs was structured and what they incorporated, and we came up with our own potential listing and map. You'll see a lot more of that. I mean, we're going to do that, but essentially, yeah, it's got everything in there that we can foresee. We left some pieces in, and as I said, if when you go home tonight and you want to stay up with a glass of wine and a lot of laughs, go ahead and start reading it. We'll continue to start, as I've confirmed with Kara, that we will start feeding her one section at a time. You'll see it, come back, throw some stuff back at us. And
Is
there's no-
any of that going to overlap on this? Because I think, something like this, it's an introduction to the assessors and how
Mhm.
it's very comprehensive, so I'm just wondering if
Yeah.
any of that would intel.
There was a video, the UMass video, that when it was developed, in terms of how your taxes and taxation worked. It was in a Vimeo mode. I couldn't open it. Kara showed me how to get to it, and we can make that Lunenburg friendly as well.
Yeah.
But no, yours is, yeah, we can add anything at this point, and we'll put it into,
What I remember from the training, something that I thought was really helpful was the video about the levy and 2.5%.
Yes.
And how that works. That would be a very useful video, I think. And
Yeah.
it wouldn't cut into that.
Because most people, I know the comment through the years I've got, you can't go up more than 2.5% on my property.
Mhm.
And then you have to explain, no, it's not individual. The
Right.
2.5% is on so an explanation of that.
Yeah,
Would
I
be
thought
good.
that one was really helpful. Also, how new growth works
yeah.
with the tax levy was very helpful for me to understand the overall
Yeah.
picture. So I think those videos would be excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe a slide about how AR is calculated. But that
Yeah,
starts to get-
calculations. Yeah,
That starts to get confusing for people pretty
Yeah.
fast, I
Yeah.
think.
You don't want to,
But those two videos that I mentioned, I think those would be excellent for anybody in town
yeah.
to look at.
Where,
Have you included,
yeah, we've got a section called Assessor's Reference Materials. We can build a link into any other part we want, and it'll take you down to that. And the training was great, and there's a lot of good videos. And there's quite a number of others out there that, like the ethics statement, the vision for Melrose, and I went back and that was the IMMA or something like that you suggested. There's another association.
MAAO.
MAAO, that's what it was. I didn't like theirs as much as I wanted the IAA, but what I did notice is that Melrose,
IAAO is international.
yeah,
That's all over the world, all over the country. MAAO
Oh.
is just Massachusetts.
Right.
So, and the problem is, right now, in the courses, there's a group now that are in charge of the education, and they're using a lot of the IAAO courses. But the problem is people that are taking those are complaining, and they're saying, this is geared towards Tennessee. This is geared towards the Midwest. We don't have grids like that around here. So there's been a lot of complaints about a lot of the IAAO. So you're better off sticking to the MAAO materials.
and if you notice how Melrose did it, they paraphrased. All they did was put out these blanket statements, and they said, go, if you want to see what we're really kind of talking about, go visit that site. And then you don't have to become a member.
Right.
Right? As long as you're paraphrasing it. So that's the strategy I'm playing with. And the IAO did a nice job and Melrose did a nice job of paraphrasing it. So I'm saying, oh, I might use that. And
Yeah, but I would keep away from the IAAO stuff because it's not geared towards Massachusetts.
Right. Oh, we'll put both of them in. That's easy enough. We can put two
Well,
links in there.
that might be
That gets a
confusing.
little too
Yeah,
much.
because
Well, as
they,
long as we don't have to pay for the MMA, the Mass version, I don't care.
well, there's a lot of stuff on the Mass website, the MAAO, you can look at a
You can
lot
lift
of
it.
stuff without being a member.
Yeah, we can put a link into it, and that's fine. Yeah, make suggestions like that.
I know we've all heard the phrase "less is more."
Uh-huh.
Just like,
Well, that's what Melrose did.
yeah, well, I'm just thinking that, you know,
And
what
to-
we should put out, we should make sure that it tells the things that we need people to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they want more, there's another link to all those things. So,
Right.
like the main points, and then, for those of us who like to go deep, because there's so many of us, the additional
Like to look.
links.
The strategy, if you go look back there, is just as a banner piece, and then there's the big news. And so it's something like that, or say, hey, folks, make sure that you go and look at your cards and confirm they're right. It's on you, and I'm not gonna say quite like that, but
Well,
it
they'll come
is.
back to us later.
Yeah, they're gonna, and so, that's, if you look at it, that's what it is, and nothing's locked in, and there's nothing that we can't move around. I had an agreement with Kira that certain formats that we'll use in the Word and such, and even some relationships in terms of, okay, yes, they are capable of putting in the PAC TV right in that same section, the agenda section. They're capable of doing that, but we have to go find the YouTube location for them, and then they would load it up for us. So there are certain things that we're going to have to, it's like the minutes.
Yeah.
I say, as soon as our minutes are approved, we forward it to them and they load it.
Right.
And the same thing with the agendas. They'll load it once you kiss it off and send it along. They would load that, but it's up to us to send it to them.
Yep.
And so there's a few other things in there, but
Can I ask that as you roll things out, you just let us know what's being rolled out, so we can
oh
go
yeah,
looking for it?
I've been doing that.
No,
Yeah.
well, we haven't rolled anything out yet.
Yeah. In
essentially.
fact, the agreement is, we're not gonna piecemeal it. We'll kill ourselves if we just piecemeal it, because there's a change in format and such. And we're both in agreement, let's get a working model that we can play with and try to break before we roll it out. And sound like a
That was always my favorite job.
Yeah.
Break things.
Break things, yeah, break things. So let's break it out. Oh, the other neat thing about it is, how we've been screaming about documentation control? Believe it or not, we do have a list of all the documents that we have in our department, and a lot of these probably aren't being used, and we need to just kind of sit down. But this gives us a step up towards controlling our documents. There's a list. Have you seen that, Arena? List of all the documents in our organization, in the department, in the assessor department?
I probably have used them.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much, I've probably used all of them.
Oh, yeah. It's just, that, are they available? And then the last modified all got modified on June 15th, 2023. A miraculous. So I'm
Well,
saying-
that was as we
As-
converted over, we're just converting over, everything got converted at the same time.
Yeah. So the good news is we'll be able to,
unfortunately, we lose track of the real history.
we can, yes.
During that conversion.
Exactly right. And so she's saying that, look, we can come up with a way of showing some sort of revision around that date, and we just have to keep a history file, and that's very, very doable. Okay, I talked about the IAA code, the conduct piece, and property tax classification. That's another form she did a nice job. I don't know if you saw that. They did the comparison between Melrose and Lunenburg.
Right.
Yeah, that was a nice
Yep.
piece of work, and credit to them. And then the best practices, we went and did the analysis on that. So that's where we are right now on that
So
one.
when can we expect to see changes in our website?
Not until it's all completed, and not until you folks bless it and
I-
approve it. But certainly, Sarah, if we want to load something in right now, yeah, we can do that. It's
Oh, I
just-
don't have anything to load right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate the offer.
But we can piecemeal it in, but for the whole thing,
Well, you want to do the redesign, and then you start plugging.
And
plugging
then
stuff in.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop us from loading stuff in there,
that's the right
right in
approach.
right in the piece.
Congratulations, Mr. Mc.
No,
Mr.
it's
Rabbit. I think
not.
this is
We're,
wonderful.
I'm overwhelmed.
I'm thrilled. You can be overwhelmed, I'm thrilled.
That's why I call you crying at night.
Well, yeah, I know, stop. The next item was the current freezing of the public record card as of January 1st. Did we actually decide last time to not do that? I don't recall, I didn't see it in the notes. Should we do that now, or should we not just do that now
Well, I think your vision cards on the website,
with the CAI cards, though?
the CAI cards, Tim said we have the ability to update those as
So the
often
question
as
is, do we want to or not? Because we haven't in the past, essentially, right?
We could do it like on a quarterly basis. That would bring in all your new owners.
Any
Yeah.
But I
feedback
think
from the, yeah, go ahead.
The vision cards, because, you know, they are, everything is as of record,
Yep.
Junior. I think we should leave those.
Yes.
But we have the ability, I think, in Vision to upload new cards with change of ownership. And that's something I was working on with Mike from CAI.
From CAA?
Wait.
You mean
so
from
Do you mean the,
Vision?
No,
so you mean the CAA cards we can update with ownership,
with ownership.
not
Yeah.
the vision cards?
Right, you said Vision.
No, the vision cards, there was something, CJ could have been updating those monthly if he wanted with all the new sales information, new owners,
New ownership,
new ownership.
nothing else.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
so there, we can make changes to Vision, to ownership only. We could make changes to CAI of virtually anything.
Yeah, that's what Tim
Okay.
said.
I think that's what I heard too. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
clear.
So
So have we decided as a board, though, that we want to do CAI cards
I don't think we had decided, but, I mean, do we,
some regular basis?
yeah. I mean, the CAI cards, like, it would be helpful, I think, for people to know that that's, like, if we can update that to say, show what the abatement was,
Yeah,
or
They're very basic, those CIA cards.
they are,
right.
And that's
they
their,
don't show everything.
no, that's their
No.
format.
Right.
And that's why you can update the ownership more often if you want to.
So should we
Is
do a
there-
little more research on exactly what's on those cards to decide how frequently we should update them? Or,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when I looked at those, like, it had some information about the buildings, it had some information about land, then it had some information about outbuildings, but it doesn't match all the information that's on Vision.
Right,
But it would be nice to have somewhere where people can go and say, oh, this total value that's on this card makes sense for what I did with my abatement, or what happened here, and then they can go, okay, this reflects my current value, and now whatever's happening with Vision until it's done, I get. Like, or, well, I don't get it, but I know it's not done, you know?
we never get it.
I know that the town has my abatement value correct on this card. Like,
On the-
if we could do
On the
that
CAI
on the
card.
CAI
Yes.
card, that would be really awesome if we could make some kind of policy that after an abatement goes through and it's time to release the information, if, I don't know when that's supposed to be.
And I think we get to choose whether it's monthly or quarterly or some other,
And Tim said
Lee.
we can do it as often as we want to on the CIA cards,
Yeah.
you know.
AI.
So I wonder, because you're more familiar with that card, if you could think of how we might be able to show that.
What, to get the current values now that were there in September, that's what CAI had me get that Win to PDF program. And then what he did was he went into my system, he pulled off all the vision cards and then downloaded them onto CAI. And that's, you know, that's why their values are pretty close to, because they were done as of September or something.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Go
could
ahead,
just
please.
reinforce what Sarah's bringing up in terms of abatements and things like that, showing up on something. We had a situation when we got an abatement, a whole side of our street got the abatement 8 years ago with regard to, hey, guess what, you're not waterfront. Okay, and we received that. Somewhere along the line, it disappeared, and we never saw that it had. So if that disappears, we're going to have the citizens say, hey, you forgot to include my abatement. So it gets
There
loaded in.
is, and it's a lot of work, and somebody's gonna have to do it. There is an abatement history, so you can go in, and put when the property was abated, all the information on the abatement, what year it was, what fiscal year, and, that's how you found yours in 2008.
Well, I didn't find it that way. I went and called the accounting department and said, when did my value go?
No, the day you were in my office, you were looking up yours, and I showed you where to go
Oh,
on the
yours,
abatement
yes, yes, yes.
history,
And
and
the book,
you
there's a
found
book.
your abatement.
Yeah, there's a book. It's not an automated report.
No, this was right on your property record card.
It was. Well, I don't have mine with me, but,
Because it's not gonna show up on there. It's
Oh.
almost like private notes.
okay,
You went in, I showed you where to look,
yeah.
and it was abatement history, and you went in and you said, oh, there's my abatement from 2008 or 9, whatever it was.
Right.
Because somebody at that time logged it in.
Yeah.
That would be a
Because I
great thing
asked
if
Sheila.
somebody could go through all the abatements that we have in the box down there. But the only thing is, it would have to be somebody in the office, because you couldn't have like somebody from a senior, because they're confidential.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Rena, though, I asked Sheila, and I gave her, I think it's 6 years ago, and she said, I have to go back and look at all the folders.
She
to get-
she doesn't know enough about vision to know there's
Okay.
an abatement.
Okay,
Well, she
You know,
does know
she
about
had-
paper copies.
yeah, yeah, okay,
There is
That makes
an
sense.
abatement history in there.
that makes sense, thank you,
Cool.
thank you.
And it was probably on your old property record card, so when they did the conversion, it got brought over. But those had to all be manually entered. And I used to do that every year in mine in Groton, but I only had 30 or 40 abatements.
Yeah.
So as soon as we granted the abatement, I would go into the abatement history, granted on, this date.
We usually only have 30 or 40,
Yeah,
Yeah, stay tuned.
so we might we might need to do a concerted effort to get it all done at once.
it would be a good
It's- it's-
downtime project for somebody to take those, but it has to be somebody
In the office.
in the office because they're confidential.
Yep.
So someone that came in out of the senior work program.
They couldn't do it, no.
Right.
No, because they're confidential.
Yeah,
Those abatement applications
well,
are
that's another
confidential.
reason to hire that person, I guess, huh?
So the question that we started with was how frequently we should ask to update the CAI cards, and should we make that decision right now, or can we postpone it? I believe we could postpone it as long as we'd like.
If you want me to check back with Mike
Mike, oh, no,
from CAI.
Mike from CAI, no, yeah, okay.
And ask
Not
him, how often we could update those. And then I know from what Tim was telling us, we can change the ownership and vision more often,
Right.
because those cards are pulled through CAI.
So.
I can check
could-
with both of
If
them.
you could check.
Yeah.
And then just make a recommendation to us about how frequently we should update the CAI
Okay.
cards.
Sure.
And with whatever thought process you use to come up with that recommendation, I'm fine with that. Is anybody okay with
Oh,
that?
that's great.
I think
Let's
that's
do that.
great, thank you.
Yeah.
We have someone with a lot of expertise. Let's use that expertise.
Yes.
Please, God.
Thank you. Review property cards for recent abatement requests, investigate differences.
We did that already.
I think we've done most of that already, yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, oh, sorry.
I have, no, don't be,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, I thought we were,
No, I just, in terms of property cards, and I held that off, I was gonna stay for the 3 minute. Okay, when I start doing my stress test, I'm trying to figure out what's not fitting. And, as I said, I sent you guys a copy, and I only did 10. I'm gonna do at least 30, but either case, one of the things that came up and popped up, and I stopped there, was the relationship to condominiums. Remember, you and I had talked, and you had explained to me that, look, it's all gets mushed together. And essentially,
No, I didn't say they get mushed together.
mushed
I
together.
said the value
Right.
is not broken out on land because it's common land, so
Yes.
it's all put in with the building value. It's one valuation.
right, and I went back and looked at all the laws, and essentially, yeah, it's, unit owners own their individual units fee and simple. They also own a percentage interest in the common areas of the condominium, the land, the common, in the structural parts of the building, such as the roof. An association made up of unit owners manages the common areas, facilities, and each unit owner pays a fee to the association. Okay, I'm thinking that, yeah, they're paying separate fees, but somehow they're getting a number from us with regard to the land, and they're doing their allocation around the land.
No, they're
So
not.
who is generating, no, I appreciate it, and none of the cards show land. You're absolutely right. So how do they come up with this number to build each one of those units when in fact the
It's based on sales.
sales, okay, but there's not enough of them. And at the same,
there
and at
are.
the same
There
time,
are.
if,
There are.
hold on, and if I look at how you value, and I went
You
back.
made a statement, and we don't
Okay.
believe that that statement is correct, so can you justify why that statement is correct?
They're too low.
No, too low doesn't
The
tell me
number, the
anything.
number that I'm observing is too low right now, but I'm gonna finish up the assessment, and I'll
Well,
share that with you,
I don't know
but
when the last time they adjusted the condos.
they haven't done those in at least
Probably 3 years.
3 years. And what,
Yeah.
when we value property, right, and there's 3 approaches, we use the sales approach most of the time, right? It's what is it sold for? And the selling price is, what they call is the RCNLD, and it's the, you take the sale.
Replacement cost new, less depreciation.
Yeah, cost less new,
Replacement cost new, less depreciation.
yeah, the new properties. If someone, you look at the house, the value of the house, and what it would cost you to build right now, you do an appreciation, depreciation's on that card says 15, 18%. Great. Okay,
Based
plus
on your
land, market land value. We don't see any visibility to land value, so we're gonna have to trust. But I wanna know, how do they come up with the valuation on the land?
It's.
And
I
how
don't
do
know
they do an
I
allocation?
don't
How
know
does it
to
add it all
work.
up?
Every town in the
Every-
state doesn't put a value to the land under a condominium. If they're in a condominium association, they do not value the land. They value the building plus some portion of,
That's
some
correct.
percentage of the land value. But that's actually built in,
In the condo docs.
well,
Yeah.
but it's actually built in to the sale price.
That's
You buy a
right.
piece of property, it includes this building, and you own some of this portion of the land.
The right to
Whatever your
use.
portion is, I don't know. Now, having said that, we back into land values for our private sales. We do
Basi-
not nobody buys a piece of land that has a building on it and says, I'm buying a piece of land for $100,000. Nobody does that. It's my building plus my land is worth this. We then back into the value of the land, as we all know, I
Right.
think. So it's clear that we aren't really starting with a real land value. We're
Well,
talking
you
about
do
an
if-
estimated land value. The only time you have a real land value is
Is when you
just
have-
land.
No, you first look to see what your vacant land sales are.
That's what I think I just tried to say badly.
Yeah,
I may have said it badly, but that's what I was trying. If you're selling just land, then you can do that.
You
That's your
use
vacant
those,
land.
yeah, to
Use those. So
determine.
that gives you an idea of how much your vacant land is worth.
Correct.
So, but you still, when you do the property value for every private residence, you are estimating the value of the land.
Correct.
You are not, there is nowhere that land is valued at a specific amount. The banks don't do it, nobody does it, it's part of the property.
And
overall
on,
property.
and on
So-
condos, whatever the market is for the condos,
So my point was, you back into the value of the land by
Correct.
figuring out what the value of the building was.
right,
So in the condos, you have the value of the building, but it's not just the value of the building, it's the value of the building plus the land.
right.
So we do not attempt to back into a value for the land for each individual condo
'Cause
or
it's
the
common.
condo association. We just say it's built into the sale value.
Right.
So Looking for a land value for those pieces of property that are under condominiums is a futile effort, and I wish you luck, but I don't really want to talk about it too much longer here.
Okay, give me
I'll give you 2
seconds.
minutes.
2 minutes, okay. Basically, how do you get a building that's 2,300 square feet, 2 stories high, on a massive piece of property, and you only value it for $344,000?
Because they
What are the
haven't been
sales?
adjusted
Right?
Yes.
through the sales.
Sales, okay.
Those
If you
units are
can't
selling
even,
for-
if we use our methodology for looking at the cost of a piece of, can you build a 3,400, a 2,300 square foot house, 2-story, for under 300,000? I don't think so.
How old is the building? How much is it depreciated?
It's been depreciated 15%.
Well, there you go. So raise that number by 15%.
Yeah.
So what, I don't know what that is off the top
I
of my
would
head,
say
but
it's-
that's
you're
40, 50,
building houses-
$50,000 more.
You're building
So
houses for $400,000.
With the house, you're
400,000.
buying the house and the land.
Right.
With a condo, you're only buying that unit.
No.
It's common land.
How do they,
So you can't equate the two. The sales of condominiums, and there's been a lot of sales, we had one big sale, and, in fact, you and I looked at that the other day. Sold for 78 million, there's 238
Units.
units, and if you divided that by the 78 million, each unit is worth about $347,000.
the unit itself?
The unit itself.
Unit
If you,
itself.
if you were to assume they're all exactly the same, but
And
they're
they're all
not.
on
They're
top
not.
of each other, and they're not.
They're not. Well, no, some of them are on top of each other, some of them are individual townhouses, or townhouses, and
Or
just one or two.
freestanding,
Yeah,
some of them
so
are
there's a whole
freestanding.
variety of, but on average, the 238 properties are
Mm-hmm.
worth $350,000 a piece.
$347,000
I don't know what it was, yeah,
Yeah.
you did the calculation, but it was, so,
But
but
that's not,
that's the buildings and the land.
And the land. And that's a massive.
Because somebody bought the buildings
It's,
and the land.
and they bought their access to that land.
yeah, they don't own
They
the
don't own the
land,
land.
it's common
They own the land. And if you look at the.
No, let's back up. Somebody bought that property for $78 million. They own the land and the condos.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Because right now, none of those condos are condoed.
Yes, they are, according
Well,
to this.
there were condo docs
I got it,
filed,
but they're all rented.
but they're all rented
So it's not a
because
condo. They're not condoed, they're rentals.
they're rentals. But because the condominium docs are
Exists.
still
I-
in place,
Yep.
they're valued as if they were condominiums. Somebody would have had to go in and reverse that condominium document. They're not going to be sold as condos, they go back to apartments. But nobody's ever done that. Those
So they're
condo
condos.
docs
Oh,
are still in
Emerald
place.
placed it. They're originally being sold as
No,
homes.
No.
And they
Nobody
never
changed
sold them.
what she said. Listen to what she said. She said nobody changed those documents.
Oh, no one changed? Okay.
So nobody's changed the documents. They're still condos.
Because
But
they
they're owned
could,
by the
if they
whole condo
wanted to
association.
now, say, look, you have to buy your unit because it's really a condominium, because they're
At
still,
any time, they could do that.
they could do that at any time.
Right.
Because those condo docs
So,
are still on file at the registry of deeds.
Don't know if there's any incentive for the condo association.
No, they
To
don't own
change,
it.
they what?
They have no value in it anymore.
No.
Zero. That's the association that owns it.
Correct,
Yeah.
because they own,
So I guess I'm back to my
Property.
first question. Who's valuing the overall land? Nobody.
nobody in the
It's,
state.
no,
And,
Because they're valuing it by sale. They're-
and if you were to take the 74 acres that it's sitting on and do the math on that,
no, you
No.
can't, because it's, the land is
and
common
divide
land.
that against the other one.
It
other
doesn't
piece,
help
You
you.
got an acre of
You have
land.
this document here.
Yep,
on
I know,
vision
I
card.
pointed it out, let 'em-
Um,
Oh, I did, I read it.
Well,
so-
I'm gonna stop
Okay,
this
stop this
conversation because
conversation.
it's really going nowhere. If you can find something that says, here's how we value the land under a condominium in Massachusetts, then we'd be happy to read it.
And you're not gonna find it.
Well, it doesn't exist, but I'm just, I'd be
What
happy to
I've
read it.
read, and what Concord has done is similar to what the other folks are saying.
And what the
I'm
state
just
says.
thinking there's a base value of land that has not been addressed.
It is addressed.
It is
Is addressed.
addressed.
I'm gonna stop the
Okay,
conversation
stop
here,
the
Jack. I'm
conversation.
sorry, that's
Stop
the end.
conversation.
That's the end of this
You got my
conversation, because we're not
fingers. Oh,
going
you got my
anywhere.
fingers.
It's just
Okay.
arguing for argument's sake at this point, because
I've got to
you
phrase the
don't
argument
understand,
differently.
or for some reason, we can't explain to you why the situation is the way the situation is. So I'm not going to do it.
I understand the situation, but I understand, I think there's a flaw in that somehow there's value.
Then you have to
Take it up with the state.
I will,
Not
I
us.
will. I'm going to call Nate. Nate, you tell me.
No, he doesn't work for the DOR anymore.
Right, call the DOR.
He doesn't work with us anymore?
He doesn't
He
work
doesn't
for,
work for the
DOR.
DOR anymore.
Oh.
He's,
so,
And-
we're
and-
gonna,
He's not using
we're gonna,
billable
we're gonna,
hours.
we're gonna
and
move
his
on.
position in
move on.
the DOR was a field.
We are paying for Nate, so we are not gonna pay Nate to do that. So if you wanna go to the DOR, feel free.
Go to the DOR.
But, you know,
What's next on our agenda,
not gonna
Mr.
get-
Chair?
responses to extensive citizen questions. We do have some responses that I think we could probably consolidate, but that would take an effort on, with some of us for some time, to consolidate those questions and put them out on the website, once the website's available.
I'm willing to print up
So-
whatever you guys come up with.
Well, that's what
I'm
I
not
think
going to do
this,
it.
well, we had talked, this sort of leads into the other discussion that we wanted to have about ad hoc citizens committees, and that might make sense for us to establish an ad hoc citizen committee to go through those questions and consolidate them and make them more like frequently asked questions, and then have them available, ready to go out to the website, because
I think that would be a great committee. Ad hoc.
ad hoc
citizens.
committee, yeah. It's a, and the reason we call them ad hoc is because they have no voting rights, but they can
Right.
certainly make a recommendation, and I, for one, would probably take it every time.
And it would be great if somebody did that, because we get to this is the third time it's been on the agenda,
Yep,
and we don't have time for it, unfortunately. Even though they're, well,
it's important. And we do have some questions, we do have some answers to some of the questions,
Yeah.
and to consolidate that, I think would really be quite useful for me. So, but I've jumped ahead. Corrective action request proposal, should I?
If you want, I can tell you that I've sent you, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, it's under here someplace. The reality is that I am proposing that we utilize the ISO 18094 format. I've got once my printer will start working, I will create a Visio flow of how it would work, and I would build a database that will carry it, and then whatever we come up with will be consistent with all the other governmental agencies. And that's as far as I've gotten, and I'm sorry I didn't get any further.
That's okay.
but I'm-
That's okay. It's just-
I'm out of bandwidth.
Just to get an
I'm out
I
of
just wanted to get an update. We don't
Okay.
expect closure today. So the next item was the ad hoc committees. I think I forwarded a copy of a proposal from one of the citizens in the community. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
yes, I read through it.
There are some things on there that I think we could really use, and there are some things on there I might push back on. But I don't know if we want to do that right now, as far as how we design our ad hoc committees, or if we want to wait till, don't know when, would be the right time.
I think the sooner we get that potential energy turned into kinetic
I
energy,
think
we got to do that.
I'm okay with that, so.
And so speed is our,
I think there are some proposed that require access to information that we
probably
can't give.
can't provide, right.
Yeah. So maybe we should go through individually and think about the ones that would make the most sense for citizens to be able to do with the access that they need to have.
Okay? That's fair.
And,
We'll address it again at the next
and
meeting,
have it as a vote, or,
about what things we would.
Yeah.
Now, there are also possible ground rules, and I would want to also review those ground rules, because I had a couple of the ground rules I was squeamish about. But I think it's good for us to have those rules. I think it's a great idea, and this is a really good starting point for that whole, how we treat ad hoc committees and how we use them, how we best use them, so we will put that on the agenda again for the next meeting for a more in-depth
okay,
conversation.
so who's the owner, who's going to write the white paper?
More in-depth, we will sit together. You're gonna do some, you're gonna do some, I'm gonna do some, we'll sit all together, and then at the end of that, we'll figure out what the best way to well, how we go about having someone take the lead.
Yeah.
So, that's
Okay.
just not, I'm not ready to take it today. But I think it is of value. And as we start to put some of these other things to bed, the how you read your vision card, then we can start taking on some of these other things as well. So I don't want to lose sight of it. I think it's really valuable, and I think it was a great suggestion, and I want
Yeah.
to move on it, not,
Good. No, I'm,
not table it.
right. Usually, if someone has a great idea like yours,
Wasn't
there's
me.
there was a white paper.
wasn't me.
I know, we'll blame it on the guy out there. But,
No?
no, we actually talked about having some sort of adjunct, visionary group or whatever, but,
Yep.
yeah, usually you start off with a white paper on what it could be, and everybody builds
Well,
off that.
What we'll be doing next time is reviewing what we have here as a
Okay.
starting point. And
Is that
we'll
the
move from there.
consolidated list of all the questions?
No, this was the list, this was the potential Board of Assessors Subcommittee Working Groups
Oh,
document that we got from a concerned citizen.
Right,
Oh,
Carl,
wrong
okay.
phrase. I should use concerned citizen, right?
no, they're long gone. They're long gone. Any Bernie out there?
Thank you, oh, jeez, jeez. Not anymore.
No, poor Bernie, bless him.
We have nothing listed under new business. Is there anything in particular that we should be listing under new business?
I think we should ask the town manager if we can have access to Word, a database, like, I'm not talking about the GIS database, I'm talking about, like, Microsoft databases,
Oh,
and
it's-
OneDrive. So we can share documents with each other.
Yeah.
you know what, we probably have that and don't know it.
No, I tried,
Oh, you did?
yep.
Okay.
I can't access OneDrive. I can't create new documents.
And we like our Google Drive better.
We
We're a
don't have,
Microsoft organization.
we don't have that, right. Okay.
Um, And if we are gonna make recommendations about staff, when do we need to do that?
The budget season's
Upon us.
underway. I would suggest that we should, if we've, have we agreed to what staffing recommendations we'd like to
We
make?
haven't,
So let's put that on the agenda for January 8th,
yep.
and then we will take that immediately to the town manager.
Yeah.
Because I think the timing is
Important.
almost passing us by.
Yep, it is.
I can make a
Yeah,
suggestion,
go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman? People doing the work know the most about it, every time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so if they were to, we have a list of things that they've had to do, right, Rena? You came in and gave us a big, long list of all the items that were going on early on, what you were doing month to month. Okay.
Are you
all-
talking about the DOR calendar?
The DOR calendar, but you had some other things in there,
I-
too.
I just
At the
did-
very end of it, you had a list of other things that were
I
going.
had a list of my own,
Yeah. And so,
Like requests for abutters lists and all that other stuff that you do on a regular basis, right?
and if you were to take those and say, okay, lead assessor, administrator, data person, another one, allocate where you think that stuff might happen, who might be handling that, and then you can come up with an idea, oh, I'm going to kill this person, I need to move it around, and then you'll come up with an idea of what your staffing might want to look like. Look at the work you're going to have to do.
Rena and I will work on that.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to put all this stuff on your shoulders, because you have plenty of work. But I think the two of us together, we can put
before
something
you
together.
guys get too far in, I'd like to request a meeting, and it can't be a public meeting. I'd like us to sign all the exemptions and the chapter lands. And because those are not public documents, if you could set aside just one meeting, there's a lot
Whole
of
meeting?
signatures,
A whole meeting?
a whole
Okay.
meeting.
Sure.
in it, just to sign all the exemptions. And the chapter lands, they're pretty much all, all the information that we need has been sent in. Sheila had gone through every one of the exemptions to see if they qualify. So it's just a matter, it could only be an hour, maybe. But they have to, it can't be a public meeting. It just has to be a meeting.
We
Just-
haven't discussed next meetings yet, but I will.
But I want
I
you
want
to-
to jump into that now, because I think you're quite right. There's a lot of stuff that could be done. We are currently scheduled our next meeting for January 8th. And the next time we can actually get a room where we could be televised is January 29th.
Yeah, that's the senior center is the 8th, right?
So the senior center is the 8th, and the 29th is here in this room. But we could potentially get a much smaller room if we're not going to be televising, and we're not going to, it's going to be executive session only.
Yes.
We could do a meeting on, say, the 22nd. Has anybody got a problem with the 22nd? Or the 15th is a holiday, the 1st is a holiday, the 8th, we're already meeting. So the next Monday, if Mondays are our target day, would be the 22nd. So we'd have to do this one focused meeting.
I had the BOA meeting on the 22nd. And then you're saying the
That's why we're
20th, yeah.
We couldn't get a, we couldn't
Couldn't
get a
get the
site
room,
for
that's
the meeting.
pushing it, okay.
I can do the 22nd.
Okay.
You could even do them down in the office.
Well, we don't have to worry about the location at that
Right.
point, because it's just.
You have to have public access though, right?
No public
Once you
access.
go, don't you have to call it in a public place and initiate the meeting in a public forum? And then you have to, then you can go back
I
into
will check
executive?
that. If that's the case, we'll get a room. Could be the conference room over there for
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
Question, perhaps our audience might know.
Well, I'll check.
We can
with
check
the-
on it.
Okay.
I'll check on that.
20th is the,
But yeah, I can do the 22nd.
Exemptions.
Because I'm getting a lot of calls, especially from the seniors and the veterans.
Hmm?
I didn't see my exemption, and I don't want to tell them, they haven't even been signed yet.
Yeah.
I'm telling them they're going to be on the fourth quarter,
Okay.
but they really need to get signed.
Okay.
Exemptions and.
Chapter land.
Chapter land. Okay. That'll be a focused discussion. Cool. I will just list the future agenda items. We're not probably going to address them all right now. Review and approve senior veterans exemptions.
Mm-hmm.
That's exemptions and potential
Chapter
changes.
yeah.
Review and approve chapter land exemptions. Oh, these are already on the,
You read her mind.
what- you already got this guy going for me, don't you? Assembly.
So hold
software.
off on it, let it
That's
go.
one of those,
That's one of the things Jack was bringing up a
Yeah,
while
do-
ago.
let it go.
Okay.
Let it go. I mean, we get so many more basic stuff.
well, that
versus-
I'm
was
fine with that.
Yeah,
my take on it too. At some point, maybe we'll bring it back, but,
yeah, it was an efficiency thing.
and future Zoom session for public Q&A with Nate. I don't know when we can do that, or could potentially do that.
I don't know what his schedule is. I know
Well.
January 1st, he's taking on another big enterprise.
Oh. So it'll be dependent upon when we can get Nate. Okay. So. We all know the meeting on December 8th is at the Senior Center,
Senior
Eagle House.
Citizen.
I'm sorry,
January
January
8th.
8th.
Yeah,
January
Eagle
8th.
House
January 22nd.
to be determined.
We'll find a location, and it may indeed be in the office, or if we have to do one, we'll do an, open it here and move down.
Yeah.
January 29th will be here. February 5th is here. We run into, I know, it's 3 weeks in a row, sorry. It's, February is another month with a holiday on the 19th. So we can't meet on the 19th, and our other Mondays are blocked for this room. If you want to have a meeting, we can try to find another location for a meeting on February
19th?
19th.
Is that school vacation week?
It might be.
I think it is, yeah.
Disneyland? Sorry, you're going Disneyland.
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that date.
Yeah, I just want to get them out
Yeah.
on people's calendars. We haven't decided yet what we're doing there, so.
I might be able to do another date, instead of a Monday.
A day, on a different day of the week?
Yeah,
Okay.
not the vacation week, but
Whatever.
you know,
Let us know your schedules as we get into February, because it's
Not
gonna-
I told you, not the 20th.
not that she's, somebody's birthday's the 20th, so we're not doing the
Ooh.
20th, Rena.
Do you have a birthday February 20th?
I'll look at my February calendar. I don't have
Okay.
it off the top of my head right now,
Thanks very much. Very much.
but I'll give you 3 days in January.
Okay. Is there anything else that we needed to cover from the agenda? Or not on the agenda?
Oh,
I'm going to move to public comment in a minute if we do that.
there you go.
I won't forget this time.
Yeah, that's all right. That's what you got a team for, to help.
That's right.
Yes, it is. We're a team.
Hearing nothing, I'm going to ask if there's any closing comments from the public.
You just like the chairs, don't you?
That's right. We'll buy them a lounge chair, they'll stay home.
I think, one of those vibrating ones for $6,000, right, Carl?
Any closing comments from the board?
No.
Wow. Okay. I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session. We have at least 2 subjects to cover and 1 set of minutes that need to be signed. Does anybody want to move?
Oh, I motion we
You
go
want- you
into
want this?
executive, oh, I gotta read it.
You got to read it.
And not to return?
And not return.
Do I read this line? This line. Motion to enter into executive session or purpose 7 to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements. Applications for abatement or exemption under this chapter shall, except in proceedings before the county commissioners, the appellate tax board, or a court of the Commonwealth, be open only to the inspection of the assessors, the commissioner, the deputies, clerks, and assistants of either the assessors or the commissioner and such other officials or designated private auditors of the Commonwealth. Chapter 59, Section 60 of Massachusetts General Law is the law being cited. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Adjourn to executive session.
Adjourn to executive session.
That was the second.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. So we are moving into executive session. Gentlemen?
Off the air.
Thank you very much.
Oh, look at that, his gavel is showing.
If, I'm going to wait for that light to go off.
I'm going to put that back in the drawer.